Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning to my lovely people. How's it going? And how was your week? I hope well. Listen, we're going to start with these hot topics, but I got a great show for you guys today. And today's show is called Don't Get Taxed. Listen, I have a wonderful tax service that is going to be on the show. They're going to answer all your questions. Her name is Sparkle Johnson, and she's going to let us know and teach us a few things. Now, I know you guys were watching the show a while back where I didn't know anything about if you were not really separate, you could be married. Wait, you could be married, file separated, but not really be separated. Remember that whole thing? And remember I said, you know what? I need to talk to an expert. So that's what I did. I got you guys an expert. Now, with all that being said, let's get going with these hot topics, okay? This is the one that's going to affect me. The red dye ban. Did y'all know about the red dye ban? Red dye. And like cherry soda, the candy apples, like a candy apple has to be red to me. They got some beautiful ones out there. Don't get me wrong. People getting fancy with their skills. But I need like the original red candy apple. So when I found out about the ban, which let's pin this real quick. This has been going on since 2022. So being that it was going on since 2022, they were saying that there are so many things that are not good for us and not healthy for us in this red dye. And it's red dye number 3. And that's what I was talking about as far as like your red sodas, the cherry blow pops, like all the cherry stuff is red. So in my mind, because I have been psychologically brainwashed, cherry means red. Jolly Ranchers, if you know me, you know I love a Jolly Rancher. The cherry Jolly Rancher. So let's push forward. If we are banning the cherry, the red food coloring, is it still going to taste cherry? I see Nick backstage like, what? Like my mind is telling me that I'm going to see, okay, so if I get a candy apple and I'm used to it being red, that's the example I'm going to use. So this candy apple is supposed to be red, but if it's going to be clear, like I'm going to see all the bruises and everything, I don't think I'm going to want it. Or do I have to buy a red, pretty apple and then let the candy be on it? What is it, the caramel syrup or something they use in order to feel like it tastes like cherry? Is it really going to be cherry? Or is it going to be like that mystery color? I see you, Nick. Hilarious. Now let's move on. Y'all know tomorrow TikTok is supposed to be banned. How you feeling? There's a lot of people making some revenue off of TikTok. But I have to say this. Do y'all remember when Facebook actually cut off for like, what, 24, 48 hours? People was like, wait, my Facebook isn't working. And it's connected with the Instagram. And just like that, boom, there was no more Instagram models. It's probably going to be the same way. Now, I just got hooked up with TikTok and learning the ins and outs of it. But now they say it's going to be gone. I know people who buy houses off of their TikTok income. What are they going to do? For those of you who don't know, it went through Congress. This actually was in the makings or in the works back when Trump was president because he didn't like it because of the breach of privacy in the U.S. So that was his issue and he didn't like it. Then he got out. Then we had President Biden. It still was on the table. Well, right now, as of yesterday, the Congress was like, we're still banning it. So what they did, they said they were going to put it in Trump's hands. So for my TikTok people out there, you got them TikTok stores and all that other stuff. I don't know. You got to go with a plan B or fill out some applications, do something like that. Don't know. But I will say the economy is doing something different, especially when eggs are as high as they are. So you know what I heard? Word to the curb is that people are going back to roommates. You remember back in college, it was like, boom, I got a roommate. And then if you were in college, you stayed off campus and you was like lightweight, not wanting to say that you had a roommate. But roommates is it. I think that's the way that people are going to be able to actually live as comfortable as they live and still do what they want to do and travel. The only way to do it is to have a roommate. And you don't have to look at it like, man, I need some help or I don't want to go back home. Look at it as collective economics. Then that way, it don't sound that bad. It's like, oh yeah, we got something going on. We're doing what we need to do. Now, Walgreens. Walgreens is closing 1,200 stores. I know y'all like, what? In Ohio, man, check that out. Now, they're trying to say that they're closing them because of the boosters. No lie. When I saw boosters coming down, they come to like a bar, local bar, and they selling all this freaking body wash. I thought it was strange. I was like, body wash? What's happening? But the boosters, they're saying that they are losing their revenue because of the boosters. And they lost 3 to 6 billion. I can't remember what it was that I actually read, but that's how much Walgreens lost. So they figure we're not winning. Now, y'all already know the Walgreens built across the street from Rite Aids and put the Rite Aids out of business. Now, the Walgreens talking about they going out of business. What are we doing here? And the CVS, what are we doing here? We got to look into that. But here's the deal. I don't think it's the boosters because us unboosters, we are not buying stuff. And I'm going to speak for me. I'm not buying anything because you only got 1 to 2 workers in there, one person at the register, and she got about like 15 people that she got to wait on. And in order for me to get this freaking body wash, I got to get a key. So now after she done waited on her 15 people, then she come back to me and then she said, oh, I don't have the key. Then she got to call somebody that's looking at you over the camera in the back for them to come out and say, oh, okay, here you are. And you got to wait, 5 to 10 minutes? Then you're feeling guilty. I done got back in my car and I done left. So I think that's why. My thing is you have to look at it. Granted, boosters been around forever. And if you are saying I'm locking all of this stuff up and you don't have enough manpower, you need to take your chances because people like me don't have time. It's called, supposed to be allegedly convenient. And it's not convenient because I done waited in here 20 minutes for you to unlock this and then you got an attitude because you had to come to the back. Nope, that's why you lost the money. Now, shout out to Lil' Kim. Let's give Lil' Kim her props because I knew where she was trying to go. She getting slandered by the social media. The lady done took, I'm going to say the lady, yeah. The lady done took the socials and she was praying for the fire, the people who lost their homes in the fires in LA. She prayed for a monsoon. And I know, I'm like, ma'am, are you trying to trade out one natural disaster to another national disaster? Something's wrong here. But I think I got what she was trying to say. I think she was trying to say they need water. Now, Biggie wrote her rhymes clearly, so let's charge that not to her heart. Charge that to her head and her not knowing. Now, I've lived in California. It is like darned if you do, darned if you don't. But have lived in California, there is a popular thing called mudslides. So, for the homes that didn't catch fire, baby, they're going to slide and be gone anyway. So, shout out Lil' Kim. I know where you were trying, what you were trying to say. Because even the water that they use now, they're facing that issue as far as like regarding, a possible mudslide. Now, Redman. And we're going to revisit this when we go into our Shop Talk question of the week. Redman is practicing abstinence. Now, not that abstinence is a bad thing, but I just think it's strange that all these older men, now y'all want to practice abstinence? Let's look at it because we know the men are in their prime, 20 to 30. 20 to 30 years old. Women are in their prime, 35 and up. So now, like, help me understand what's really going on. You on high blood pressure medication. You got the sugar ioditis, as my grandma say. Like, what's really happening? Can you not get up like you supposed to? That type thing. What are we doing? And I see Nate the agitator backstage. Can't wait to visit that. Okay. Generational wealth. Real quick. I want to touch base on the generational wealth. I actually overheard a conversation and I hear people use that often. Generational wealth. I'm trying to make sure that my family has generational wealth. You see, I kind of lowered down a little bit. Generational wealth is just that. But I need to understand, how are you looking to build generational wealth when you are forcing your children to start at zero? That's the question. So usually generational wealth, I'm helping you get here. Boom, I'm going to pass this on and you continue. But I heard someone say, no, I had, what was it? I was struggling, it took my sweat and my tears. That was hard work and da 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 da. They need to learn how to get it before they get it. Well, sir, that's not generational wealth. It's not working. That's not it. So I wanted to touch base on that, and I wanted to say that, regarding the generational wealth. And also, like I know, struggling is not the key to success in most cases. And the reason I say that is because the babies don't have to fight that we had. We don't have to fight that our parents had. It's gradually being diluted. So for those people who want to, I won't say create, but are big on generational wealth, just remember, it's hard to have generational wealth when you're making your offspring start at zero. That's me. I'm not your child's parents, but that's just me. Now, if you know that if you pass yours down, yours going to sit there and sell everything off of who knows what and start selling knockoff bags and stuff like that, then okay, just look at your offspring and be like, maybe the next generation, and I'll pass it to that one. But that's all I had to say, and that's it for the hot topics. So, my lovely people, we are getting ready to start this show with the lovely Sparkle Johnson and her tax service. So, look, I'm like, what we got going on? Here we go. Let's get this show started.
Good morning.
Good morning, lovely people. I want to put the number up here. The phone number is, let me give it to you off top, 619-902-2287. That's 619-902-2287. And for those who are viewing, the number will be across the bottom if you have questions for her. Let's give a shop talk. Warm welcome to S. Johnson Tax Services.
Hello.
I'm so glad that you agreed to come on, because there has been some discrepancies, some questions that we really don't know what direction to go. And I'm going to say we as the community, because you'll have some people who will be like, oh, I did this and I got $5,000 back. Be like, you worked 2 days last year and I worked all the days. How come I only have this amount? And if I am doing a 1099, how do I go about that? And if I decided to have an LLC, you remember with the whole PPP stuff, the LLCs, those type questions. So let's get into it. Good morning.
Okay. So let's start with the first question.
Okay.
With why this person only worked 2 days, another one worked 367 days.
Okay.
So basically the person who works less gets more back. So the person who works more gets less back. So the person who's actually working more, you're paying the taxes for the people who work less. It's a recycled circle. So when you're working more and you're paying more taxes, you're putting it into the other people that's not working more, and they're getting more taxes back. It doesn't make any sense, but that's how it is.
Okay, so clarity. We're working 365 days a year to give to somebody who said, I ain't working.
Right. Basically, that's where all the tax money comes from, is from the people who's actually working, like the millionaires, the trillionaires, the billionaires. That's how taxes come about. It's in a recycled service. So it's going in, you're making it and then you're paying it, but it's going back out and it's coming back to the lower income families where they get the most. And when they work just a little bit, and then they also have children, so they get the most coming back because they only get it once a year. You're getting your money all year long. And if they work all year long, they will get it too. But
it puts you in a different tax bracket.
Right.
Okay.
Tax bracket is all, and every time the tax bracket is what matters.
Okay. So let me tell you what I'm hearing.
Okay.
So what I am hearing is that, for example, I'm giving my money to Nate, and it's just being recycled between us, and the government is not giving us. It's us giving us.
It's basically us giving us. That's how it works. It's a recycle. That's, like our parents and grandparents that worked back in the day, their long, hard work, and all the steel mills and the hospitals and all that 30, 40 years they put in, it recycles back into the other people. And then they also pay their their taxes to recycle into Social Security. That's how they get it. So it's just a big wheel. It's just going around. And it's sad to say that the people who don't work the most get the most money back when taxes come around, because they get it one time. We get it all year long, basically. So we have to pay into, it's just keeping the world going, because that's what the younger generation will do. They'll get a good job, they'll stay on it for years, and they'll keep going. Now then like I said, it also depends if they have kids or not, because that's where the majority of the tax money comes from. It comes from the earned income. That's and for the question for the 1099, when you have a 1099, you're not paying any taxes at all. You're basically getting all cash. It may not be in a cash form, but it's all cash. They're not doing any taxes. So when you report to the government, like, hey, I made all this money. I don't care if you made it weekly, monthly, annually, but you never took a dime from me. Once we report it to the IRS and put it in that computer and say, hey, they made all this money, they want to report it. They have a system set up. Yeah, now we're going to tax you like we tax the working people that actually went in and punched the clock for somebody else. So that's how the 1099 works.
Okay, so that's why they bring them. Now, can 1099s be, can you do it like quarterly? Can you pay them quarterly?
Well, you don't have, okay, so first of all, you don't, if you want to pay into the taxes, you have to set that up. You could pay quarterly, monthly, whatever, how was comfortable for you. So okay. Like people who work for the state, say like childcare, people who do childcare out of their home, if they work for the state, they can set that up to where they can pay into the taxes, so it won't be so bad when they go to file. Okay. Now, if they put into the taxes, then they'll get that back. But then again, they won't. So that's another thing with the self-employment people. If you're a small self-employment person, you're never going to get money back. It's never going to happen because you get all cash. Everything you do, you get all cash. And to report it, they want you to pay taxes. So Yes. Will it be easier on your pockets from you paying taxes quarterly? Yes. Because if you pay quarterly out your pocket and you paying the government, like, here's my taxes. So then when you go to file, it won't be as hard. That's just like people who work and don't pay into the federal withholding. So if you ever notice on your W-2, it'll say box 1, box 2. Box 2 is the federal withholding. A lot of people are not putting into their federal withholding, and it's causing them to pay a lot more when taxes come around.
So the federal withholding is take some money out of my check?
Right. So when all the taxes you get taken out of your check, the federal withholding is the one that helps you the most not pay at the end of the year. So the more you put in the federal withholding, the easier you may get a return. But if you don't get a return, you have to pay. It's easier to have more federal taken out.
Okay. What's the difference between earned income credit and head of household?
So first of all, earned income credit is only for, well, I'm not going to say only if you have a child, because single people can get earned income credit. You have to be 25 to 55, but you only get so much based on your income. Everything is based on your income. It's based on you being single, or it's based on you having one child, two child, or three children. I have an actual graph here. I meant to pull it out. So they have a table every year they put up. I don't know if you can see it. It's called an earned income table. And it tells you by how much money you make to if you're single with no children or with 1, 2, or 3 children. It gives a breakdown. And it goes all the way from $1 to $86,000. But anything over 33, you're not getting any earned income. So I don't even know why they put, they got it, because all of them is zeros. Everything is zeros after 33, which is wild. Okay. Now, the difference between that, earned income is not in the credit of head of household, because head of household is a filing status.
Okay.
So earned income is not a filing status. So they're two completely different things.
Okay. Single and head of household.
Single and head of household, married jointly, married separately. They are all filing statuses. Yes. Okay. Now those are the differences. The credit, earned income credit, is just something, it's where you actually have to go in and somebody's business, clock in, and they take taxes out. Because you can have your own business, and yes, that's your earned income, but not by the government.
Okay, so if you have children and you're over $33,000, just don't even file earned income.
No. You'll get earned income. You'll still get earned income based on, but it's based on how many children you have.
Okay.
And
so with no children.
Yeah, it's really bad for single people. That's why you have to pay into that federal withholding, so you cannot pay taxes to the IRS. So the more you put into the federal withholding, not saying you're going to get it back, but
got a better shot.
It will help you not pay as much. Because they still tax you. You're going to get taxed if you're single. You're still going to get taxed. Even though you've been paying taxes all year long at work, once you file those taxes, you're still going to get taxed again, basically. So the difference now between head of household and single, basically single is you're just filing yourself. That's it. Anybody is single, that works. But head of household is the difference is when you have people underneath you that you're taking care of.
Okay.
So if you go to file a tax return and you put, like, if you have children, you're head of that household. But you also can file a tax return and put single and still file children. But you don't have to be head of the household. You can live with other people, and that other person can file and say, you can't file head of household with just one person. You always have to be single.
Okay.
So that's a difference there too. People think, oh, I'm going to get some money for being head of household. No, you don't get money for being head of household when you're a single person, because you can't file that way. If it's only you filing, you have to file single. There's no way you could just put in your name and then just say head of household. It always has to be single.
Okay. Thanks for that clarity, because I was
in the head of household. And like I said, you still can file. That's just like, say you live with your grandma and you work and you got kids, but that's your grandmother's house. She's the head of your household now because she got people in there that's living under her roof. So if I go to file taxes, I would have to put single, because that's not my home. I can still file my kids, but that's not my home. So I would have to file single. Now, if it's just me and my home with my kids, yes, I file head of household. That's how that works.
Okay, here's a question from Special Clemens. Some people get taxes taken out of their paycheck for 6 months and change it for the other 6 months. I know about that.
Right.
Why do they do that?
Well, I recommend people to do that because a lot of people think if they don't pay federal withholding, they get more money in their paycheck. But I try to explain to them, you do get more money in your paycheck. It's not a lot, but you get more. But you're still going to end up paying it at the end of the year. So to give them a cushion, I tell them, well, if you want some more of your money, you can always go to HR and change it on your W-9, W-4 form and say, well, give me some of the money, all the money in the beginning of the year. Well, I'm sorry. You pay your taxes all in the beginning of the year because, January to June, there's not really too many holidays or parties or things going on where you want more money. Okay. So then I tell them, well, after June, go in, change your federal withholding so you can get more of your money back. But you still need to pay something during the year. Don't go all year exempt, because if you go all year exempt, then when you go to file your taxes, you're going to have to pay.
Okay.
So it's easier. You don't have to do it every 6 months. You could do it 7 months to 5 months, but as long as you don't do it all year.
Okay. Let's talk married but separated, living in the same house. Is that a thing?
Yes, that is a thing. A lot of people do based on their income. If they feel like the husband is making a lot and I'm making a lot, they don't want to put it together. Okay. They actually get a bigger credit though when they put it together. But it just depends on that taxpayer. Sometimes they feel like in their mind, oh, we should do it separately because we don't want to put our funds together because it makes it more and we'll have to pay more taxes. Well, you actually get a bigger deduction if you file together. But some people do it because they're actually separated. So they actually file separate.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying some people, another reason why they do it, like if the husband has child support issues, they'll file separately, but they still have to put that person's name on, their tax return, regardless or not. If they file separate, you still have to put that person's name on your tax return. So like if me and my husband file and I put filing separately, I still have to put him on there. Regardless or not, they still want to know who that spouse is, even if you don't file with him.
Oh, okay. So it's still the same thing.
It's just a different amount in the taxes and the credit that they give you.
Because I remember, true story, I remember when I first got married and, I'm doing my taxes because I worked since I was 16, And then we get married and we down there doing it the right way, all happy, walking in there, let's get our taxes together. And that lady told me $400. I was downtown, I'm not lying. I sat there, he ain't no.
A lot of people think that they think, oh, I made all this money. I'm going to file my taxes. I'm going to get this back. No.
She said $400. Now, me being used to what I was getting, I
Right.
gathered up all my little papers. I said,
Mhm.
thank you. She said, well, where are you going? I said, let's go. I was like trying to do it the right way. I'm like, let's go to our other person because
I get a lot of married couples too that come in here and be like, "Oh, we just got married. What should we do?" I'm like, they be so happy. They be like, "I want to file married." I'm like, okay. Like, it's not a flex at all. It's not.
Child thought it was. Thought it was.
Not a flex at all.
$400. Excuse
Now,
me.
if you got a whole bunch of kids, it's definitely a flex.
Now I have another question regarding small businesses.
Okay.
Is there a deadline to file and to file our taxes, and are we expected to pay at the time that we're filing?
So there is a deadline, but just because you have a deadline doesn't mean you have to actually file your taxes. Like, a lot of people get scared. They're like, "Oh, April 15th, April 15th. I got to have them done by April 15th. Yes, in reality, you should have them done by April 15th. But if you don't, you can always get an extension. Only thing that the deadline does is hold you off on interest. So if you file after the deadline and you didn't file because people don't actually know you can file taxes all year long. They just give you a deadline because they want people to actually have everything done by the 15th. If you can have it done by the 15th, you can ask for an extension. If you don't ask for an extension, you can just file it whenever you can. And then once it's filed, they calculate the interest you should pay, or they'll send you a letter saying, this is the interest on the amount that you owe. So if you owe by the 15th, what I tell people to do is file, have it done, and have it put in by the 15th. So it can be sent off to the IRS. So you can already have it done. You can call, make payment arrangements so that amount doesn't change. Because if you don't file by the 15th or you file after the 15th, the interest occurs on what you owe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I get it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the interest. And a lot of people, they are, "Oh, I got to file. Like, I don't want to be a bad tax preparer and say, you don't have to file, but but it's better to have it in by the 15th.
Okay. So what about the payments? Say you file on the 15th, and how long do they give you to pay what you owe?
Well, they want you to pay by the deadline. Because like I said, if you don't pay by the deadline, then they start accruing interest. So if you don't pay by the deadline, they start, you accrue interest. I think it's daily, but it's like pennies, but it's
okay.
But it's a lot. Like, the interest for the IRS, yeah, they're the real mob.
That's where it's
they
at.
Want you to pay that interest.
Now, if you have a business and you didn't make any money, is it necessary to file your taxes?
Well, I always tell people if they didn't make over $3,000, it's not like it's not necessary, but it's not. I mean, it's not like it's not necessary, but if you want to have it recorded and on file, because every time you file your taxes, whatever you show as an income goes in, and that goes towards your Social Security when you go to retire. Have you ever received one of those Social Security statements that show what you made every year? Okay, that goes by you filing your taxes. So if you don't file it, you just won't get credit for it. So it's not like, and that's what I said, like $3,000 is not a lot, especially not now. It's not a lot. So if you don't file it, it's not going to hurt you. But if you wanted to go against, your record to show that this is what I made, no matter what it is, I want to show I made it. So it can go in your Social Security statement, and it'll be in that, so you can actually have credit for when you retire.
That's good, because there are people who retire and they're only getting just a certain amount and they don't understand why they only have
Right,
that.
because you have to report your taxes. You have to report it on your taxes. Your taxes show what you made every year. So when you go to file for, Social Security, disability, retirement, any of that, it shows what you made those years, and it counts. They add them up, and it counts. And a lot of people want to do it because, especially if you're self-employed, that shows you got an income. Say if you want to go buy a car or buy a house, or you need something, people be like, oh, well, the people be like, I need your pay stubs, or I need your, what you made for the year. And then now they ask for tax returns. I want to see your tax returns. If you don't report that, then you can't show it as an income.
Okay, so back to the Social Security and the cycles. So you'll meet somebody. This is putting the pieces together, and you're like, "Oh, that's all you get for Social Security." So they're on a fixed income. So now they're elderly. I think it's like called cycles or something. So it's like, well, how long have you worked? They're able to look at your tax return or what you reported and see, oh, okay, well, we'll determine your Social Security based off of how many cycles you worked or your income that you accrued over the
Right.
years. Okay.
That's what your Social Security is based off. When you work out here into the world and you file those taxes, they look and see how long you worked, how much money you made every year you worked. That's why people don't retire till after 30 years. You have to put in a lot to get that money, to get enough for, depending on how your lifestyle is, to live on that.
Okay, here's a question. What if your job doesn't pay into Social Security but into a SERS?
If you wanted to pay into Social Security, you could be able to either speak to Social Security about getting paid in, like they may want you to, because that's just like any self-employed job. They take no taxes out. So if you want to pay into it, you have to speak to each government department into about paying into it, so you can have that. But when you file your taxes, like I said, it shows like, okay, they made this kind of money this year. That's how they do the breakdown of what you're going to get when you do retire.
Okay. I was wondering that. I'm like, okay, and I was wondering, there was several questions that was coming through. Like they're texting instead of calling, which is okay. And they were talking about, do I have to file? I have an LLC. Is it mandatory for me to file my taxes? So I'm glad you covered that.
It's not like, it's definitely mandatory. Regardless if you have an LLC or a sole proprietor business, you do need to file if you want it recorded. If that's if you're, say for me, or if you're a auto mechanic, you have to file all that cash you get in, because I want to show the government, yes, I've been working. Even though I haven't been going into somebody's business and clocking in, I've still been working. So I'm going to report that I've been paid all this cash. I'm going to pay my taxes. And then when I get older, you see that I've been working, and now you want to give me Social Security because I said I've been working. And if you're like a self-employed person and you don't file taxes, that's like a lot of hairdressers. You have to file that money that people are paying you to do, because if you don't, it's like you've been doing hair for nothing.
And then when you sit down, you ain't gonna.
When you sit down, there's no income because you didn't report it. You have to report it.
Okay, I'm glad you answered that. Now, let's say somebody comes to stay with you for the summer or maybe 6 months. Are you able to claim that individual?
Which individual? A child? You can, but...
Or an adult. Can you claim an adult?
You can claim adults, but you're not going to get any money for adults.
Oh.
Any money. Adults don't give you money at all. The earned income credit is only for children and adults who have disabilities, or students that's in school. That's the only time you get earned income. Now, if your mother's just living there because she ain't got nowhere to go, no, they're not giving you money because your mom's just living there. And a lot of people think that. A lot of people think like, I'm gonna file my mom. Nah, that's not gonna work. She's not gonna. Now, if you make a lot of money, you still can file your mom because she lives there. All it's gonna do is give you a credit where it brings your income down. So, say if you had to pay, I'm just throwing that out there. Say you did your taxes and you had to pay $2,500. Well, your mom comes on there and you put her on there. You're not getting money for her. You're just gonna bring that amount down. And then again, sometimes you won't even bring that amount down because she only gives a credit for being in a home. She doesn't give you money, actual funds. Like the kids, like the people when you were younger and you got those big checks because you have kids. They gave the money for kids. And now when the kids are 17, you can still file them up to their 24. But you lose $1,000. So every year you file them, you lose $1,000 after they turn 17.
So if I was getting 5,000 when they were 16, when they turn 17, I'm getting 4,000.
Right.
Now, when they turn 18, am I still getting 4,000 or am I
you'll still get the 4,000, like based on whatever your income is, but you will always lose that. You will not get that extra money because it also, like I said, your actual credit, your actual income is always based on your income because everybody's income is not the same.
Right.
You can make 30,000 with one kid and probably get like $5,000, and somebody can make 30,000 with 3 kids and get 10 grand. It's always based on the income. You can make 40,000 or 50,000 with one kid and probably get $2,000. So the next person who's going to make the same amount, she might have 2 kids and she might get $6,000. It always depends on income and who you claim.
Now, if you get, let's say 1 year you make 120,000, and the next year you make 40,000, is that looked at side eye or
no? They're not, because people lose their jobs, people get demoted. Stuff happens. People get raises. Depending on the lottery, you have to claim the lottery. Gambling, if you hit at the casino,
I forgot about.
You got to claim that stuff. So everything that's an income that comes in, you have to file that.
Okay. Now let's talk about your company, your business. How long have you been a tax preparer?
So I actually started doing taxes, I want to say in 1997 or 96. I was working for Home Savings and Loan, which is Premier now. And they had a lady come in from MyCap that was looking for volunteers to do taxes for the low income people. So that's how I started. I did taxes. I volunteered for 4 years. Like I was going down to MyCap for 4 years, dragging my kids with me. They hated it too. They're like, we don't want to go down there. Like, come on. Like, that was just a part of it. I liked it doing it. And they sent us to a class at YSU. I think it was like for 3 months. You had to go like every Saturday, but the IRS taught us because there's no class. I'm not a CPA. I'm just a tax preparer. So they would, that's how I learned how to do the taxes through the IRS at this YSU class. And then I just did it for 4 years with them. And then I had a couple people just tell me like, oh, you should start your own business. Well, then I started doing it out my house. They got getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, wow. And then at the time, my husband, well, at the time he was my boyfriend, but we lived together, and he was like, you got too many people coming in here. You got to go. Like, I'm like, where am I going to go? And he's like, I don't know, but you got to get out here. We don't need all these people knowing where you live. So in 2014, he found me a building. So in 2015, I started. So just this year, I realized like, wow, I've been doing taxes in an actual building space for 10 years. I was really shocked. Like, those 10 years went fast.
In 10 years, you're like, okay, a decade sound long.
It went fast. I'm like, oh, wow. But 2 years ago, I bought my own building. Well, last year, I bought my own building.
Okay.
So the first 8 years, I rented from someone in their place. I stayed there. I just was consistent with my craft. You stay consistent. Like I said, and those years went fast. I didn't even know it was 10 years. It's been 10 years. But I had a lot of clientele and consistent clientele that's been there since 2015.
That's what I was going to ask. Do your clients usually they rock with you from the beginning?
Yes, they rock with me. I get a lot of new ones. I get ones they go away, then they come back. When you're registered with the IRS, you got to have like an e-filing number.
Okay.
So you can look it up every year to see like how many tax returns you do. So every year I go be nosy and look like, oh, what I do. So last year I did 600 people and I did it all by myself. I do have an assistant. They help me prepare and get people ready. They do my copying and they talk to the people, make sure they have all their documents and whatever they need. And I just put the people through. But yeah, last year I did 600 people.
Wow.
I'm so impressed with myself.
I'm impressed with this here up to $7,000 advance.
The advance.
That's what, so I know that before was a time where you could like take your last pay stub and then go, and we talking about Johnson Tax Service, so we ain't gonna say their name. Then, you get your advance, but when do you get, like, if you get, let's say if you getting 10,000 back, you get your $7,000 advance. Usually you done spent that, and then you coming back like, okay, well, where's my 3,000? But isn't there a fee?
Well, it depends. So I work through a bank and they loan out the money. I don't loan out the money personally. So, and the bank has to approve the people to get this type of money. And a lot of people always say, oh, I don't want the advance because then I ain't going to have the money later. Well, what's later? Like, I look at that because if you did before, we used to do our taxes and get our money in 2 weeks. Now we have to wait. So I'll be looking at people like, so what's later? What's the difference? So, and
why did that change?
Well, a lot of people was claiming kids and claiming dead people and claiming dead kids. And so so now it's called the PATH law. PATH. It's called the PATH law. Basically what it is we can file our taxes early, just like you can go vote early. You can file your taxes early, know what you're going to get back. You just want it out the way. It's sitting there. They wait until February the 20, somewhere like the 15th to the 20th, somewhere in there. And they hold that. So if you file your taxes early, they hold your taxes until they can just make sure that this is your kid or this kid belongs to you. And then once the PATH is lifted, then you get your tax return. So even if you wait if you don't come early and you wait after February, they still hold your taxes for like 2 weeks and you get it.
Okay.
I want to make sure it's your children. That's all.
I'm glad you did speak on the fact that it is not you, it is the bank.
It's the bank. Exactly.
People out there that's strange and be thinking all the money's right there.
No, it's the bank. Like I said, I have a bank that I work with. Once I put in, and they don't check credit. Only thing they check and make sure is if like you don't owe any government loans, if you don't owe any IRS, you don't owe unemployment, you don't owe welfare, you don't owe child support, anything governmental that you do not owe. And they usually give you the loan. If you're like a first-time person, some first-time people do get it. And then based on your consistency, it keeps rising and rising and rising. And that's where you get the most. So like if you walk in and this is your first time, they're not giving you the 7,000. Like I have customers that have been with me for like I said, 10 years. Now they'll get the 7,000, with no problem. And as long as they see consistency, so they see this person ain't changed they didn't have any more kids, they got the same kids, the same job, they're not jumping around. Like if I get somebody to come in every year, they got a different job. They don't work here at the hospital, at Taco Bell, at here, Dairy Queen, or at Walgreens. If they're jumping around, they'll give them the loan, but they might just give them $500.
Now, since you said that, is there fees?
No, so there's no fees, and that's what I want to put out here, because a lot of people are doing tax returns and they deal with the bank, and the bank charges us, the tax preparer, $75 for each person who applies for the loan if they get it. And a lot of tax preparers are charging these people the $75, and they're not supposed to be doing that. It's in our compliance testing when we first do it, and it tells you you're not supposed to be charging those. That is a fee that we pay to bring the customer into us. So it's like, I want you to come do taxes with me. I'm going to offer you to get a loan. But if you don't get the loan, I can't charge you for it. So a lot of these tax preparers are charging the people for the loan, and they're not supposed to do that.
So come be my customer and you pay me $75 too.
Exactly. And you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. If I don't even have to ask you. If you come in here and you want to be my customer and I offer you the loan, I'm going to pay that fee to the bank because I got you in here, or you came in here and I offered you a service. And, if you got the loan, I have to pay for that. But there's no fee to the customer at all. Now, when they do come in, you ask them, do you want the loan? They'll say yes or no. If they say yes, they have two options. I always ask them, do you want to go up to 1,000 or over 1,000? Because if you go up to 1,000, the bank has three options. They can choose to give you $250, $500, or $1,000. And if they give you that, you don't have to pay any interest. So if your tax return is $8,000 and the bank gave you 1,000, that means when your tax return comes, the bank's going to automatically take that 1,000 back and just give you the balance.
Okay.
Now, anything over 1,000, they charge interest, and the interest is 36%. It sounds bad, but it's really not that bad, because if they give you 7,000, you only got to pay them $7,200. Like, it's only $200 for $7,000.
Well, you had that lump sum.
Right.
Now, what's the going range for tax preparers doing our taxes? Do you know?
The golden range that we charge other people?
Like different.
Well, it just depends on the tax preparer and how they do it. Now, like me, some tax preparers charge per form. I don't charge per form. Some tax preparers charge per child. It just all depends. Because like tax 29, I believe tax 29, and the reason why that's their name, because they're supposed to charge $29. But that's only if you're single and you got one W-2 and you come in there and you walk out. But if you got anything else going on, they charge per form. Yeah.
Okay, so it's at your own discretion.
Yeah, it's at your own discretion.
Okay. Now, I see on here that if you're a new client, you're giving away $10 discounts.
Yes, I do. And they got to have the flyer. So, because I put the flyers out everywhere. I put them in the grocery stores, the corner stores, the gas stations. I'm out here promoting myself. So I put these, and if they mention it, they get a discount. If they actually bring the flyer in, they get a discount. Usually every year I mail out postcards to the people who came the year before. They get a discount too. This year I didn't do it, but I usually do it though.
Okay, so if someone wants their taxes done and they use somebody else and they want to come to you, how can they get in contact with you?
They can always call me by my phone number. I have the same phone number for the last 10 years, which is 330-233-0270. I'm also on Facebook. Very, very easy to find. If I'm not your friend, or if I don't follow you or you don't follow me, you can pull me up in that search bar and inbox me just like that, under Sparkle Johnson Martin. So I'm on Facebook, and the phone number. And then my building is actually located on the south side on South Avenue. at 2536 South Avenue. More than welcome to walk in. I take walk-ins also.
Okay, what's your hours?
I work from 11 to 6.
Oh, wow. Monday to
11 to
Friday?
6. I take appointments. I take appointments every day. I do appointments every hour. You're not here for an hour, but just in case if something snag or you don't have something, or
So you're not just overbooking people and having
yeah.
Okay.
Then I'll, but if I'm done with you and you're out of here and a walk-in come in, I got time to do the walk-in.
All right. That time to do the walk-in. Y'all heard her. Y'all heard her. I want to put this information out here. It's Johnson Tax Services.
S. Johnson.
S. Johnson. There you go. Oh, what you got? What's that over there? Oh, I see something on the thingy. I thought that was a little logo.
Oh,
S. Johnson Tax Services, 2536 South Avenue, Youngstown, Ohio, 44502. Bring your W-2s or your last pay stub.
Yes.
She could get you in. And if you need money now, she has the availability. Again, she works with a bank, so there's no cash there. Let's be clear. Up to $7,000 within 24 hours. That's pretty
within 24 hours. So, and when they have 3 options. So if you don't have a bank account, I can give you a check or a debit card.
Oh, okay.
So, yes. And if you so depending on like if you want the money, if you can get the loan and you want the money right now, the check and the debit card gives you the money instantly. You'll get it in like 20 minutes. If you do direct deposit, it's there the next morning. So that's why it's 24 hours.
Got you. All right. And the specials, again, I told you for the new tax clients is receive a $10 discount if you bring the flyer. Or if you say you saw her.
Yeah. How about that? If you saw it on Mail, Shop Talk, come through. And I do referrals. I do referral fees too.
Awesome.
So if I do your taxes and you refer somebody and they come through and get their taxes done and they actually go through, the next year when you come back, I give you $25 off your fee. And if you bring 4 people, I do your taxes for free.
Look at there. So to get in contact with her and to make an appointment is 330-233-0270.
Oh,
I keep saying Zero love, my
0270.
0270.
Right.
I got another question that just came through.
Okay.
Do you do taxes outside the state of Ohio?
Yes, I do. I'm very tedious on who I do outside of the state. I have to make sure that they are referred from somebody. I do everything virtual through email. I do speak with them over the phone also. Okay. So I make sure everything is correct that they send me. They're just not sending me somebody's ID. And any information that comes within my office, be it do they walk in here, they call in here, it's all safe. It's all locked up. Nobody can get it. Everything's safe. So they will be very happy to be secure. But I do handle people out of the state and out of the city of Youngstown over the phone.
Oh, that is good to know. All right, one more time, Miss Sparkle Johnson Martin, give us our information. Well, your information.
My information, my address is, look, somebody's calling now. The phone number is 330-233-0270, and the address is 2536 South Avenue, Youngstown, Ohio, 44502. And I also can be reached on Facebook under Sparkle Johnson Martin or my business page, S. Johnson Tax Service.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate you. Listen, she is the one. That's all I got to say. She is the one. And I love the fact that you said that everything is safe, locked up, because a lot of people have that issue. Like, okay, you got a building and you know how everybody's shady now.
Very.
It's safe, secure, confidential.
Very confidential.
That's what I liked. I'm trying to get, the comments over there at the same time. People thanking you for the information. I thank you for coming on. Truly appreciate you because we need to know this information and we don't want to get taxed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You
Like,
don't want to go somewhere and pay all these fees, and then they don't help you, and you done pay these fees.
you got to pay $100 to sit down.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot. Let me see. Any of the crew, did you guys have a question for her before we let her go? Are you good? Oh, you got it. See, she was good. Okay, clear and concise. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on. You gotta come and hang out with us sometime. Huh?
I don't have a problem. You just gotta invite me. I'll be here. I was like, oh my God, I gotta get up and be on her show.
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
That is Sparkle Johnson Martin from S. Johnson Tax Services. If you missed the information and don't feel like rewinding it, you could hit me up. Call. The number is below 619-902-2287. I'll give you her information. I see some texts. I'll text it back to you. I see you guys. Just say tax services. Give me something to go by. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey. I told you to find somebody. I was like, I'm gonna find somebody. When Nick was like, no, you can't do that. I said, why you gonna find me? She said, I gotta find me an expert. So I'm so grateful that she decided to come on and explain that. And I love the fact somebody got a fan on or a heater.
Yeah, I hear
heater.
Oh, there you go. A heater. Don't tell me your heater, because it's freezing. Listen, it's freezing out here. I ain't mad because I had the same issue. My pipes froze. And I was like, oh. And I guess there's like condensation that goes in, is in the furnace or whatever, and it goes out. Well, mine froze. Right. So what you gonna do? I'm cold up over in this mug. Can you turn it down just a little bit or talk up?
Yeah, I can talk up. I was just putting it on mute.
Oh, you got industrial ones.
It's scaring the hell out of me.
Why? Because is it that big?
Well, no, it's just making noise, and this is the last thing I want. I had set aside this money for a new furnace. My little Debbie is messing with my little Debbie money.
Yes. Listen, it's a whole nother animal. People don't understand that loving to be in an apartment is a good thing. Because when that hot water tank go out, that furnace go out, I ain't lying. Why do I have an extra hot water tank in my basement? Just in case. When you kind of like know how it's gonna go, and you were like, it's seeming like this is about to happen. Let me prepare right now. I want to get to the shop talk question of the week. And the shop talk question of the week is, do you believe that there's a double standard in parenting? It's a talk show. We got to talk, honey.
Yes.
Okay. What's your thought, Nate? Go ahead, just talk.
I think there's more to that question. I don't completely grasp the question.
Okay, so what it is there's a mother and then there's the father. And do you think that there's a double standard in parenting? And the reason is this: I got this information inside of an inbox, so keep those coming, where she's moved on. They're no longer together. She's moved on. Well, her son's father feels like, where you going? Feels like he needs to know what she's doing at all times and who she's going with and where she's going. He don't want people around their child, where the father is doing what he does, and she can't even think about asking him what he's doing and who he's doing it with when their child is there.
Okay, with that example, I'm going to say it's a little double standard. But I can see if he's asking, well, in my day, I would understand if you're asking if I had a daughter. So
okay.
If I ever dated a woman with a daughter, I would always introduce myself to her dad, because he has to know what type of man is around his little girl. But in this Diddy era, you got to watch out for the boys too. So
Isn't that tragic?
it is. But I mean, I made it a point if I dated a woman with a girl that I'd introduce myself to her dad, say, "Hey, this is me," blah blah blah, simply because my daughter is my primary concern. So it can be looked at as it could be looked at as a double standard. But a man is always going to want to be his daughter's number one. So if that's checking in on the mom and stuff like that, so yeah, it's a double standard.
And Nick, what you think?
It's definitely a double standard. And nowadays, girl, boy, it don't matter, man, woman, because they're both getting molested by both genders. So the woman that's dating a man with a daughter or a son needs to introduce herself to the mother as well. Because
Listen here, you're so right with the whole S8. I will say that because I got to say that on here, but y'all know what it is. I will say this: that has been going on for a long time. It's just more popular, and I hate to say the word popular, but that's what it is.
it's been covered up, right?
It's been covered up for a long time, but now people are voicing and saying, "Hey, this happened to me," or "This happened to my child." Before, it was a sense of if you were a victim, you were embarrassed or humiliated, and that's why it was kept secret or private. Where now people are talking, and these fellas out here, it's sad. I've seen a dude out there capitalizing. That's why I'm okay with the TikTok going. Capitalizing off of having a big booty. Became popular from having a big booty. You know that guy with the dreads? He looked like his daddy, but built like his mama. It's the guy out there. He does butt lifts. He got a whole class. And the thing, he had women in the class. Well, now he has a lot of men in the class too. And I can't think of his name, but y'all look it up before tomorrow because it's going to be off the TikTok.
Ill.
Right. And then just watching these men even twerk.
Hey, single dad. I blame that on no men.
On single dad. I think these.
I mean, no. I blame it on dads not being in the household.
You have some gay fathers that were out there.
Well, hey.
And then you didn't find out until after, y'all split up. Like,
but, But the Captain Caveman dad knocked a lot of that stuff out of him.
You can't even say that. You
Yes,
can't
I
even
can.
say that anymore.
I'm
because
standing all 10 toes down.
You
Don't
really
tell me
can't
about
say
one
that
person.
anymore because even in two-parent households,
we're talking about
dads
experience.
being
So let her
present.
experience be hers. Go ahead.
With the dads being present anymore, you don't know because you have the uncle or the babysitter or the cousin molesting these young men and they're not telling you. So it doesn't matter whether the father was present or not. Someone else molested them, and that's where a lot of this is coming from. And like you said, that is starting to come out now. So you really can't even blame it on a single parent household anymore. You can't.
So are you saying if there's a man involved in the picture, that doesn't give the child more coverage? No,
she's not saying that at
That's
all.
not what I'm saying.
Well, if the father's there, that SH is less likely to happen because of his presence. It's just like when you go somewhere with your man, a lot of stuff don't happen simply because he's there. And if you got big brothers, dudes ain't coming to you a certain way. A man presents a certain coverage. His presence is important.
I'm not going to disagree with you. You're right, but that's not what she was saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
So I get what you're saying.
Right. Regardless of the father being there, these children are still being molested and being molested by someone that the parents trust. That's where a lot of that is coming from. It doesn't say anything about their presence. Yeah, of course. But things are being done under the cover. And then the people that are doing it have been for so long threatening these children. If you tell I'm gonna hurt your mom, or if you tell I'm gonna hurt your dad. So you can't base it on a single parent household because a lot of them have been molested and had to keep it quiet in a two-parent household.
And you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to add to it. That child becomes the protector of the assailant. because they're like, if I tell this happened, my dad is going to do A, B, C, and D. And I don't want my dad to go to jail
Right.
because we know what the outcome, is. There's some sick people out here. I want to go to this one. This is not only between husband and wife, but also between step parents and their own children. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Now, when we go with that, like when Nate's direction where he was going, that is least likely to happen when you have that extra covering because there's consequences. And it's like, oh, wait, how am I going to do what I do? And Nick, to your point, it's like usually somebody that the mom, her best friend or something like that. I remember it was a guy, I used to call him Terry the Fairy. And I will call him that because I called him that. And you know what's going on. But my thoughts were, you're my friend, and you have your friend or watching your son. And mama's boys, this is just my thoughts. To me, mama's boys, they want to please their mother. So do you think that can be an issue or a contributing factor of trying to please the mother? This is her best friend. Let me act like that, like he does. Or is it, if y'all understand where I'm going, or is it, this is the man that I'm around and this is what I see, so it must be normal for me to act that way?
Yes.
How will we correct that?
Well, you have to. I mean, it's influence. You got to be careful what they listen to on the radio, what they watch on TV,
The video games that they play.
This in the video games?
Child, listen.
Oh, what?
A lot of these video games are off the hook. I'm like, why are you letting these children play these games? Because it's so popular, everybody playing them. A lot of this stuff is for adults, and the kids have access to it. So yeah, they're getting off of what they watch, what they listen to. Even with some of these little so-called children's programs or something on YouTube. These kids love YouTube. There are hidden messages in there and certain things, because there were certain programs that my little niece used to like to watch on YouTube, and I would sit and watch it with her, and I would look at her and be like, turn it off. And then I would have to say something to my brother, and he's like, y'all, it's okay for them to watch this? Have you sat down and actually paid attention to what they're watching? You have to pay attention to everything nowadays. I mean, because it's getting more prevalent and more open now versus when we were younger.
Now you got a point. You got a point there, because you figure, oh, okay, you see the cartoon and you just let it go. Not actually watch. Listen, Nickelodeon was off the hook. You thinking Nickelodeon was cool? I thought it was cool. I was
exactly.
Like,
exactly.
What
you
are
see
we
what
talking
they were doing
about?
to those babies. Nah.
I didn't know the video games. The worst of the games that I knew was that I was trying to keep out of my house was Grand Theft Auto. Is that it?
Well, those type of games, but it's not just those type of games. It's they're communicating with people on the other end, and they talking mess and all. You know, you get them radio racists where they talking and calling you and doing other stuff like that.
Oh, you mean on the TV now?
Yeah.
No, when I'm playing a video game, I'm playing against you, and you live in Albuquerque. But we're
not playing by ourselves no more.
No, they playing with a group of people from all over the world, not the country, the world, and they cussing them out, telling them stuff. Oh man,
And anymore, if you playing with a good hacker, they can hack in and be looking at you, especially if you got stuff set up and you got a camera or something. They can hack into your camera and be watching you. So yeah, a lot of that is going on too. These hackers are getting ridiculous. So it's like a lot of influence. Wow. But it also goes back to, like you really have to, the parents have to be A1 protector. You got to be the worst enemy to your child while trying to protect them, because it's just too much going on nowadays. And it's not like it's getting worse because of technology. I mean, this stuff has always been going on, but it's been swept under the rug. Now technology is, and the way of the world now, it's like boom in your face, like so you have to really be on them.
You have to stay vigilant, And like I say, I don't think the world is getting worse. I just think we're more knowledgeable what's going on everywhere.
And open. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Getting too smart. The world is getting too smart, too educated. Okay. So if dad says no at his house, should mom say no at her house?
You already know, Mel. This is why we broke up. The rules are the rules. You want punishment over there, you want punishment over here.
Right. You should, but it's not always like that anymore. One parent, and that's the double standard in parenting, because the one parent, he ain't gonna be telling me what he could do with you could do in my house. The same thing with this is my house, and what I say goes. So therefore, I don't care what's going on at your house. They can do it, or vice versa. So yeah, that's double standard in parenting
But
as well.
here's the thing:
you have to be as one, because these kids are smart now, and they will play you. Because I know.
Co-parenting. I don't care what you're doing. It is me and you against this little brat. I'm not going to come over here and like, what? You don't punishment over there? Well, you're right. She is a bitch. And go on and play your game. Let's go for ice cream. You called your mom that. No. Whatever he did over there, if you deem it punishable by law, the law states. Our law states this. So you got to do the time here. Just transfer the prisoner. What? Transfer the prisoner.
Basically.
I'm changing my Wi-Fi passcode. No, you can't do nothing over here. My granddaughter was transferred over to this prison. Boy, my house is clean. All my dishes are washed, everything. On her birthday.
I mean, like Nate said, transfer the prisoner. You don't get special privileges when you transfer from one prison to another. You're still going under them same rules. So, yeah.
So that wouldn't be you trying to run my house or me trying to run your house?
That is if you're a insecure, selfish, little snot as a person.
Immature.
Hey, why am I running your house by telling you we got to stick together against this kid? Because this kid
because I don't think that the punishment is warranted.
Don't care. The law was broken.
That's where the double standard in parenting comes in.
But guess what? And you're her best friend, and then in 4 or 5 years, you can't control her and she ain't listening to you.
Mama let me do what I want to do. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I want to go to my mama's house because shoot, I be smoking her weed. We be chilling together. She's my bestest friend. Now she's stealing your weed, and she got boys over your house while you gone. I don't have those problems. I don't. You know why? Chop. Couple chops to the throat, straightens all that out.
I'll tell you what, there was a situation that made news, and we all, I'm sure, know about it, where, okay, here's the father. The mother, fast forward, going to where you are right now, the mother can't control her. The mother calls the father. The father controls her, things that she knows she would not do because of how he's going to discipline her is not done. But here's what happened. So the mother calls the father. He chilling, minding his own business because of what she did. Then the mother calls the police. Well, the police is called, and the police is now called because he went too far when she's the one that called. Speak to that.
Well, she's a bing, 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 bing.
Now, we're not going to call her names, but
I'm calling her names because that's what she is. I mean, she's mad because the results are being laid, and now she's seeing her friend gone. Vindictive. In this call, she was being vindictive, and she was the victim because, well, I feel that he's doing, but what he was doing was working. How many times, I don't know if you had to ever do this, Mel, but how many times have you heard of a woman saying to her kids, I'm going to call your father. I'm going to call your grandpa. I'm going to call someone. That someone is someone the kid respects, fears, and respects. But that gets the results done. I fear going to jail. Therefore, I don't jaywalk. I fear hearing what dad got to say. Therefore, okay, mom, don't say nothing. But soon as you saying, well, why don't you listen to me like that? You're not set up in that role or position. The balance is both in the same home, under the same roof, under his leadership. That is the divine order.
It
But women
is.
have a
But
problem.
when it does not work that way and they're in two different places,
Got you. So
that's
now
where
me and you
have
have to be adults. Me and you have to be adults. This ain't about me and you. Hey, listen, why don't you put a pillow behind the bed? Because Junior keep on hearing you say, oh God, in the middle of the night. So I'm just gonna say, hey, it's best to put a pillow behind the bed. I ain't gonna say, you can't be having men over my house, blah, blah, blah. Now that's between me and you, and those are feelings. But if I say, hey, put a pillow behind the headboard so he don't hear you. Instead of you saying, you can't tell me what's going on in my house, just be like, you know what? Okay, you're right. He don't need to be hearing me getting bent up. My back cracked.
I want to say something about that pillow behind the bed.
Knock yourself out.
I had a pillow behind my bed.
Go ahead, man, and tell us more.
Now listen, it wasn't for that purpose. It was not attached. No, the pillow was not attached.
You're boring
to
us now.
I probably am boring you. But listen, this is where I'm going with that. So the pillow, the headboard wasn't attached. I guess you had to screw it to the bottom. So it was just leaned.
Uh-huh.
But every time I would move or roll, it would just, because it was leaned against there. That's why I had the pillow there. But here's the issue. This is what's funny. Like my room is so big that I got like a desk. And come on up, just don't sit on my bed. Have a seat.
Mhm.
All the people probably was sitting there thinking that I'm getting it in, and that's why that pillow was behind there.
That's what I would have thought.
That's crazy.
Actually, that's what I thought. I remember it was me and Maine. We was moving stuff for you. I was like, go, all right, Mel. Okay, Mel.
See that?
And it was a whole different purpose that she put that there.
Yeah, and you said, hey, yo, don't touch my bed. I was like, oh, that's where you get your work in. That's your spray paint. That's all your spray paint over there.
Don't sit on my bed with no street clothes. But that's crazy. But that was the reason. And it had that knob in the back of it because of the way that it was made.
Uh-huh.
I had that. See, you thought it. See?
But
nothing of that.
But as co-parenting, listen, Junior keep hearing you yelling, oh God, and cracking while you're getting your back realigned. Y'all have fun, but just put a pillow behind there. He don't need to be hearing that. And instead of you saying, oh, well, don't be controlling my house, and just because you can't do it, no, that makes sense. Okay, you're right. All right, I'm gonna take care of that. And that's us being co-parent.
Go ahead. What's your
the question? I can understand the pillow behind the bed to keep the headboard from hitting the wall. But if you loud go say, oh, that pillow ain't gonna make a difference if you oh my God, yeah, Daddy, that ain't gonna make a difference. They still gonna hear you. They just not gonna hear the bed hitting.
She was praying. She caught the Holy Ghost.
You got to answer for everything, don't you, Nate?
I'm gonna have to get it. So I'm gonna get the headboard screwed into the base.
But here's the thing. That's co-parenting. Me saying, hey, put the pillow behind the thing because Junior keep talking about he hear y'all and it's all is squeaking. And instead of you saying, you can't be controlling my house and telling me what to do in my house, you say, yeah, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
That is crazy.
But that's co-parenting. That's two adults raising one child. It ain't about you can't control what's going over here. You just mad because you ain't getting to hit all of this no more. Why
am I still stuck? Because I'd have moved my room around. I'd be telling my son, don't forget, put that pillow behind there. He might. I'm like, because I didn't want the wall to mess up. But man, that's crazy.
Well, hey, if I tell you, Mel, put another pillow behind there, it ain't me trying to control your house.
I got you. But the pillow, it's a little small pillow, and it's not up where you can see it. If you look, you can see it. Let me put that. If you happen to look back there, that's so crazy. Well, listen, how about the expectations from a female to a male parent to their children? I think, that's like based off of like their gender, their age. Like you may think that they shouldn't be wearing makeup. And I'm like, oh, it's cool. She's 14.
That's
like,
yeah.
How does that work?
Women usually raise their children for happiness and comfort indoors. I'm looking for what predator are you attracting? You're too young for that. I don't need you having these old dudes checking you out, thinking you older, blah, blah, blah. So a man always has a protector thing. I'm looking for what people gonna say outside this house. You thinking, oh, she looks cute and it ain't hurt nobody. But I know I'm a different monster. I know what attracts men or that can be appealing, that I don't want to go through those issues. I don't make you change your clothes before you go out with your girls because I'm insecure. I'm making you do it because I don't want to have to deal with all the predators that you here. I'm gonna lather myself with salmon and honey, but I ain't gonna let no bears touch me. No, those bears ain't gonna be touching me. I feel comfortable in this salmon and honey. It makes me feel good. My skin glows because the honey's good. And I'm telling you, no, wash that stuff off. Don't go out. You're so insecure. Listen, I know there's bears there. And I know some bears are hungrier than others. So no matter what you do, if I'm not there and I say, hey, change that, just change it. But it's
said it none. So what about if we tell you that?
Okay, but guess what? I'm the bear. I'm a bear too, and I'll fight off another bear. I can fight off another bear, or I'm just trying to attract some new fish.
That's where it's at.
Well, but one's protection and one's not insecurity. One's not insecurity. It's
think about it.
Intuition. One's an intuition and one's security.
Okay.
I'm trying to protect. You're just having intuition that Rihanna, Rihanna, I seen her trying to text you the other day, and she trying to come out and be around you. And I know she like it when I got on my high karate. So if I wear high karate, you done told the whole story in your head that she gonna be down there jumping at me.
Oh, again. We do have full stories. But when you're dealing with, prime example, who is it? Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
Uh-huh.
Remember what was that? Was that a son or a daughter? A daughter?
They had a lot of them.
Yeah, they had a daughter that wanted to be a boy. And there's two parents in the household. And they let her go ahead and do her thing.
Look at that.
And now household. She's mad at the daddy and then dropped his last name.
Look at that household.
Very dysfunctional.
Oh, but that was a household led by who?
The mama.
And what was that? Was that situation a feeling situation?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know.
What? I feel I should be a boy. And guess what, Mom? If you feel that way, and she's the leader, so go ahead and feel that way.
Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union.
Same story. But Gabrielle's on the outside.
Daughter, son, whatever, son, daughter.
Gabrielle's on the same side. I hear him talk, Wade, and I can agree with him. He shows a love that, he shows that a love, a pure love. And I commend.
Unconditional, but they did
not. But
they respect the mother's wishes, the birth mother's wishes. Well, they respected the stepmother's wishes.
Well,
double standard.
Yeah, that's messed up, and at such a young age.
Well, see, that's where it's at. So he's with the father. That's where I'm going with the double standard. He's with the father. But that's his biological mother. So you just oust her out because he has a, air quotes for the listening audience, another mother. Basically. And honestly, I feel like the other mother is the one that really coerced Dwayne into saying.
And did.
I can agree, but let's look at that. The man wasn't standing on man business. He let her run that show, just like Jolie. You got a certain type of woman and get that certain type of man. And when she goes, and that's not ordained, and most of the time it's misguided with a boy because it's feeling based. I mean, last week on the show we were talking about feeling. I'm like, well, where's the rule?
We're nurturers.
That's right, and that's the role you play.
And that's what they're doing. They're being nurturers. So it's up to that man to say, okay, that's not my position. That's your position.
Got you, but guess what? A man has to say, hey, those are feelings, and don't nobody else outside of this house care about how you feel. So you got to be prepared for out there. Huh?
To their child?
Yeah, my child knows. Hey, once you leave this house, don't nobody care how you feel. Mel, I can tell you this right now.
Favorite thing
leave your house, Mel. Don't nobody care how you feel. They don't care how you feel. So I'm not going to set you up to, well, my feelings, and I feel, and I feel. That's why I'm such a great a singer, because I mastered the word. Made me feelings. You feel that every time I drop that note. It doesn't run the world. And women think that everything's supposed to go their way well, not all women, but I mean, that's the majority. That nurturing, oh, it's supposed to be puppies and rainbows and feeling good. No, I'm like, hey, dog, they don't care about how you feel. And your feelings aren't always that important. They're only important to the people that care to you. Mel, I don't feel good. Oh, Nate, here, can I get you some coffee? This, that, and other. Nick, I don't feel good. So? Oh, okay. What they got to do with me?
That's
But you're supposed to want to bring me coffee and tea like Mel. No.
Well, here's the thing. If you want to do gender roles, since that's your life, Nate the agitator.
Yes.
Well, if you're going to do the gender roles, then allow her to be in her femininity. Allow her to nurture her child.
Correct. That is your job.
You can't say, so when you go with he's on punishment over here and he needs to be on punishment over there.
Mm-hmm.
I see like the co-parenting, I understand it because it's consistency. But what if it's too hard? What if she feels, since we're going there, that it's too harsh, but she's a nurturer. Let me clean up your wounds.
You know what that turns into?
Feel better.
You know what that turns into?
Go ahead.
Your kid got caught with a gun that wasn't registered or something, or his friend's gun. And the law states that he gets 5 years, no matter what.
Okay.
But you feel that that's just too much. It wasn't his gun, but the law, but you feel that that's too much and too harsh. What is the law gonna say?
I'm gonna go get a good attorney and hope he beat it.
The law gonna say,
well, he got 5 years trying to protect.
No, you are to nurture. I am to protect. So you nurture, but you listen to me. I'm the one that gets you ready for out there. I'm the one to say, hey, get up. You the one to say, oh, baby, my baby, you okay? No, and I'm like, leave him alone. Let him. Hey, you right. Don't play.
You have a point. I'm gonna tell you why you have a point. Because let's just do something minor as far as like waking a child up for school. Get up. We have to say it like 3 or 4 times. Dad comes and be like, get up, they up. Matter of fact, the door just opened. So they kind of know who's coming.
They know that they can run you, especially young boys. Oh, they're just tapping their feeling. But mom, here. Yeah, squeeze.
Okay. So without all of that, let's go with the stepdad. So you have a stepdad now, and you're the stepdad. Both of you guys are in the same house. That's my child, your stepdad. Is there some type of discrepancy or bias to you being the stepdad and me as the mother? Meaning as far as like rules and laying down the rules.
You know where that stems from?
What?
The woman. She's the pinpoint on that. She has to show that, hey, I submit to this man, what this man says goes, and hopefully the child will follow suit. A lot of stuff got to do with that, the child's age at the time and stuff like that. Like if I come in and the child is 7, 8, he has to see you submitting to me. He has to say, well, let me check with Nate, see what he think, and this, that, and other. Then he'll fall in line. If it's an older child, I have to go to him and I have to appeal to him. It's my job to, hey, I'm dating your mom, blah, blah, blah. And I ain't coming in and saying, I'm the man now. It's my orange juice. Catch you in the Melvin, but he might still catch you in the Melvin. But, y'all don't know what the Melvin is?
Yeah, I know what it is. Go ahead. Keep going.
But there's a way to do things. And men respect men and rules. A man ain't going, I feel. When I hear men say I feel so much, it scares me.
Well, them other ones, you already know what my thoughts are on that video.
It's prevalent.
It is. Now, here's what happens, though. You have that stepdad at home, and then that child's acting out at school because things have changed in the household.
Gotcha. You have to address it, though.
You address it.
Right, yeah.
Then you have grandma and everybody else coming in saying, well, he was used to that, so you need to figure that out, and he got to go. That man got to go. Your husband got to go.
In that situation, if I am not the leader, I'm going to go. I'm not going to sign up for misery and disrespect in a house that I'm required to pay the bills and take you out on dates and speak nice. No, nigga, I am, if I'm that dude, I'm that dude. And if I'm not that dude, I'm not that dude. So now I'm like, you know what? Your mom and your sister and them, they were right. I'm going to go on. I'm going to move out. You just going to give up, but I love you. So a man can't win. But
Man,
he has
we making up words today, aren't we?
Huh?
We going to mess up. We making up words today with your disrespect.
Hey, if you understood what I was saying.
I understood.
I
understood the
that's all communication is.
At that point, though, that's where the parents and the step parent all need to sit down together with that child. But the parents need to have an understanding together first. And that's a lot of times does not happen because the male ego a lot of time, or like us females, we, get catty. And so, yeah, and that's the problem. And these children see that and they play on it.
Yeah. Well,
because
here's the thing.
we do it in front of the kids and we shouldn't.
I will say that those things do occur. But when you come in, like Nate was saying, he's not coming in like, a gorilla or an ape, like I'm taking over everything. But when you have that stepfather that comes in, he's looking at your child as to what he thinks that child should be. But you know your child and know their needs, or if they are special needs. And this is different because you have a lot of people who are special needs that don't look special needs.
Right.
And that new guy could come in there and break the child. So
fucking like Downsy or something, special needs.
Down syndrome you can see, but special needs you usually there's some special needs that you can't see.
A man will, if he's informed that the kid a little dee, he'll reflect or whatever with that. He ain't gonna come in and be like, I don't care if you can't read.
But there are those that do. There are those.
Well, you know who that reflects bad on? You know who that reflects bad on, right?
The mother.
The mother and the choices she made, exactly. And there you go with another
wait, we're not going to say the choices that she made. Because if your child suffers from mental illness or special needs, that is not the blame. I'm not going to blame.
But what I'm saying is the choices she made as far as the man, and that's where the double standard comes in as well.
Okay.
Well, you the one chose him, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that one on this one.
Yeah, if that's the guy, but usually the guy should be okay. Yeah, she chose him. But didn't know things were going to go that way. Eventually leave.
Well, guess what? At
the
that
outside
point,
people, but what do we hear often, especially in marriages? Keep those outside people outside your house. We hear that often in marriages. Mm-hmm. Now y'all know. Look, our business is our business, and our business is in the house. But if you have somebody, because I've seen it, where God just come in and just want to run it, like, oh, well, wait a minute. We didn't get to level 7 with this child, and got them together. But you said, no, my sons do this and my sons do that. Okay, but you don't know what this child has gone through.
Do you know?
Is that back to the feelings?
No. Well, if you'd have done things right, if things were done in their order. And I didn't do them in order.
In their order, far as what? Married the father?
Be married before you carry.
Okay.
I didn't do that. But I mean, if they were I'm wrong and I didn't do it the right way, but I'm mad enough to say, yeah, if I'd have done it the right way, things would have been better. Because ain't nobody going to care for the child more than his parent.
Right. So let's say, for instance, you did do it the right way and you married and that didn't work out.
Well, what do you mean it didn't work out?
You married your children's father and boom, there you go. And then you guys get a divorce and then you move and you date somebody else and he's coming in rah.
Okay, well, guess what?
Do you go to the father first?
I'm sorry?
Do you go to the ex-husband, the father of the child first? If it's a boy? Because I heard you say you go if it's a female.
I go if it's a female.
But
But
if
in
it's
the
a son,
post Diddy era, I would have to go if it's a child. But I mean, you would want the union to be union. I was married once before, and me, her, and her ex, her father, the kid's father, would go out together. We would. It was us against them, but I made it that way. I was the one to say, "Hey, bro, yo, dude, these your kids. I mean, hey, this is what's going on. I'm about to punch him in his mouth." And he said, "Okay, well, you go ahead and start, and I'll be there." All right, fam. And we jumped the kids, but those kids respected and were better for it. And that's just being an adult. I mean,
okay, so
most people
they
are
need to
caught
be
up
on
in
the
the.
same,
I'm sorry.
same playing field. They need to be on the same playing field.
Right. So me, you, and your new husband need to be on the same playing field. I ain't got to be in love with this dude or really care for him as much, but he's around my child. So I care about my child. So guess what? By proxy, I have to be involved. So guess what? Hey, little Nate over here peeing in your mom's begonias again. Hey man, I can't get there. Go on and 2PC and tell him that you talked to me and tell him we telling his mommy when he get home. So now this little boy got a whole gang of adults that's on the same page.
Okay.
And that's the thing.
It makes
Everybody
better
has
for
to
him.
be on the same page. Not everybody is going to be on the same page.
Well,
That
that's
goes
the adult's
to your
fault.
level of maturity.
You're right, but that's the adult's fault.
That's cool and it sounds good, but there's a double standard, and who has to usually buckle is the mother.
The submissive party in that. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Now what?
That is the problem.
No, it's not.
It's
It's a problem because y'all don't feel like it should be. Your feelings is the only reason it's a problem. But I've given examples of how it could work and how it would work.
You had a child in prison. You just called the baby an inmate, transferred an inmate.
Yes, because if he did bad over your house, guess what? Finish your prison sentence here. You save money. I ain't got to take him to the movies. I ain't got to take him out someplace. Yeah, go on upstairs.
But that does seem like it would actually work better, because if you're on punishment for 5 days and then you get off because I'm going over here, so I'm going to be off. And then when I come back, I got to get back on punishment to finish my 5 days. That's not effective.
Says who?
It says I. You didn't hear me clearly.
I heard you.
What did I say?
You got it. He had a leave of absence. So he got to go someplace for someplace. Then he got to come finish his sentence out. Yeah, I heard exactly what you said.
So what I'm saying is the leave of absence is at the father's place. So that's why I said I get it, where it's like it needs to be consecutive instead of
I'm male.
No,
I'm
wait.
on your team no matter what.
Instead of you got 5 days, okay, 3 days here, you're going for your dad, finish up your punishment, versus 5 days or 3 days, and then you go have fun and then come back and finish your.
You ain't having fun with me, Mel.
Right. That's what she was saying, though.
I know. I get it. But here's my point, Mel. You and Cleophas, I don't care about y'all matrimony, but guess what? Me and you are going to be unified on whooping that ass. Our kid going to be all right. Cleophas can watch. I'll tag him in on things. Hey, yo, Clee, I can't make it, dog. Go on and handle that.
Okay, so you marry somebody else. I'm not tagging your wife in.
That's because you have how you feel. That's only because of your feeling. And you're thinking from you. You ain't thinking about the welfare of the child. You're thinking about how you feel. That's all you're doing. So guess what? Spoil your kid, and then you wonder why he's still in your car and stuff like that. Because he can get away with the stuff. That's you and your feelings. Knock yourself out, man. I don't want a kid with Mel.
Tell you something.
No more kids.
You have people who have always wanted to harm that child, and I finally get the opportunity. Now, I will say, I'll speak personally from like my wife-in-law. I love my wife-in-law. And when she called me because she was having an issue when mine was visiting her, and I said, what's the rules? I said, you're going to have to check her. Because me here, I'm not helping. But that was a check. That was a check. Now, you do have those people, like I said, who don't like, oh, I can't stand this child. I can't wait to do A, B, C, and D. There are people out there just because they feel as though that child is spoiled, or she give him too much attention. Oh, I can't wait to beat the brakes off of him. He need a whooping for something he done did 2 years ago, and she didn't handle it the way I felt that she should handle it.
Yeah, you
Or
do
vice
have
versa.
some people like that. You do. And yeah, listen, I used to tell everybody I'm an equal opportunity. It don't matter. I don't discriminate. If my, this one did it, this one did, they all getting it. So yeah. But
Well,
that again goes on the relationship of the adults. And that's where the adults, when you start splitting your family up and adding other family members and everything, adding other adults, you all need to be on the same page, sit down. So therefore there is no double standard in parenting, because all of the parents and the step parents are on the same page. You all have to be on the same page.
So, do you think the resolution would be everything in my house and your dad's house needs to be congruent and not on the other outsiders? Because that's where the problem comes.
No.
So you have your house and you have your wife, your new wife. I have my house. I have my new husband. So these other people who have no blood connection are talking to their families and coming in, and then we talk to our sister cousin, and then they have their input, and everything is in disarray.
Listen, they ain't
The four
disarray.
parents. That's it.
I'm
That's
King
all.
Kong. I don't care what it is. I am King Kong. I watch gorillas because gorillas have a silverback, and the whole community talks to that silverback. So Cleophas have to understand he's a part of the village. And
You
his
gotta
role
find
in this
another
village-
name because I ain't
No,
Cleophas.
you like Cleophas.
Cleophas
Cleophas.
did.
That's your man, Cleophas. Anyway, Cleophas got to understand that he's a part of this village.
Let me go to the comments.
Mhm.
Let me go to the comments. Cornell Stevens said, I'm going to let you know off top. Your kid come in my house, I lay the smack down.
Amen. My dad used to whoop Cornell. But
no, that has nothing to do with that.
my dad was a stranger. He wasn't even in the mix.
Totally different.
Okay.
There's no invested interest.
But
It's
he
like,
whooped him.
it don't matter, but that's a friend. So, okay, well, we know why you would do it. But we're talking about other partners. That's
Okay.
what we're talking about.
Okay, listen to this. Listen to this.
Go ahead.
I was on punishment at my mom's house. And so therefore I thought I would, I wanted to go to, couldn't go. And I thought I was going to get away from something. It wasn't even, another parent house. I was going to my auntie and my uncle house and stay the night with my cousin because I knew they was allowed to go to parties and stuff. So, I go over there, and the one time I wasn't even on punishment. My mom just didn't want me to go to the party, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to go spend the night with Melissa and go to the, I get over there. My aunt was like, Melissa, you can go, you and your friends go. Nikki, your mama said you can't go. And so I had to sit there with my cousin Mika. You talk about man. But see, that's where the cohesiveness came in. Like, and that wasn't even the parent. That was just my auntie. Like, I'm like, let me go over here so I can get away with to go to the party.
Let me say that, and I get it, but she's upholding your mother's rules.
Well, why don't you uphold my rules, Mel? Well, why don't you just uphold my rules?
I could, but if that's her auntie, and if I tell mine, she is not allowed to go, but she could come over. She could come over. No, because there's a reason, and I get what you're saying.
The same thing with the father. Then, if you are like the mother, if you ain't allowed to go to the party here, and you go over here, you shut up, Nate. You got to be on punishment over there. So it basically it's the same thing. It's just you're replacing the auntie with the daddy or the mama.
Hey, Nick.
That's a whole different type of trouble.
Nick. Mel just don't like my new woman. That's why she all upset.
That's why she ain't putting her hands on my child.
Just because she got real hair too, and it's longer than yours, you got an attitude.
You know what?
She ain't putting her hands on my child, and I just think some punishments.
A butt was made for smacking.
I hear what you're saying for the cohesiveness of the parents, but some punishments.
Well, to me, that punishment wasn't warranted because I wasn't at home. I was at my auntie, so I should have been able to go to the party.
But was yours a punishment? Yours was your mother didn't want you over there.
The one time it was still a punishment. The other time she just said no. So yeah, either way.
Okay.
I wasn't allowed to go. And I was hot. Hotter than fish.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed. If I was gonna be on punishment, I couldn't go anywhere. But then you know what that is. If we put y'all on punishment, we on punishment too. But if we had somewhere to go, we'd be like, get over there, she on punishment. So that's the difference. Okay. I see the comments. They said daddy's rules. So daddy running it.
Silverback gorilla.
We're back to it. We're back to it. Okay, let's see here. Go to the comment. Somewhere along the line, we lost the village raising the kids. Everything is done, and your child don't touch. What? Don't touch. Don't do. What are we saying?
We
This.
badly need the village back. In other words, when we grew up, you got your
Oh, so
behind
don't
tore up
touch.
by
Don't
everybody.
do. Okay, now I got it. No punctuations. It threw me off. My fault. I'm like, wait.
Hi. No punctuation.
Like
Hi.
you got your tail toe up by everybody. The neighbor across the street, the cousin like on your way home, the neighbor, whoever caught you doing something, got your behind toe up, and all the way through the neighborhood, everybody that caught you whooped your behind. But the phone call was made all the way to the house. When you got
And we're
home,
better
you
people
got it
for it.
again, and you got it worse than the rest of them. So
And
yeah.
we're better people for it.
So I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Why is it that we're okay with accepting a stranger or the village to discipline our children, but not their own parents?
Who is we?
As a community, I'm talking
Society?
conversation.
Am I answering from a societal point?
Yes.
Okay, society is good for it because they're building pipelines to prisons. I mean, you acting that bad, I got a place for you, and I get paid for you being in that place. So, I mean, that society is the one we need to be looking out first and foremost before anybody in the house. They allow the radio to play what they play. They allow the kids show to show what they show. They're amping you to go in their pipeline. You know what I mean? It ain't the portal in college football. It's the from high school to prison portal. So they're pumping that up in all ways. So guess what? Now kids got right. Do you understand that the way my mom beat me as a child, she would be still locked. She might just be getting out. But back then it was just because it was Tuesday. Today it's a felony.
But remember, we didn't have the people in place to call. I'm calling.
Exactly.
Oh, mama, we didn't have it. You just had to suck it up.
Suck it up. But we're stronger and we're better people.
I just knew I wasn't going back over their house. I ain't going over their house no more.
But the children today, oh, you can't hit me. You can't talk bad to me. I identified as a hamster. Not a gerbil, but a hamster. Oh, well, I got to do it because that's how they feel. I now, as a father, I can't say, don't play with that stove. It's hot. Well, she feels as though that she wants to touch the stove, and who am I to tell her that she can't do what she feels to do?
You're the parent. That's who you are.
They're taking it away from us.
When she touches that stove, she'll realize I'm burnt.
But now she got a 3rd-degree hand burn, and I'm in emergency, and they looking at me like, oh, you're such a bad parent. So, I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah, the way society is now, like if you whoop your kids, then you get in charge for whooping your kids. But guess what? If you don't whoop your children now, and there's a lot of parents that don't believe in whoopings a baby, your kids, they're evident. It shows that they need it. If you don't start tearing your children up now, the court systems go tear them up later. And then they're going to turn around and look at you and want to charge you as well for something that your child did. Excuse me, you are stepping in the way of me disciplining my child. Didn't nobody say nothing about abusing them. There's a difference between punishment, whooping their tail, getting them straight, and abuse. I ain't talking about the abusive type of whooping. I'm talking about getting them straight. But society, they're stepping in now, preventing you from disciplining your child. But then if you don't discipline them and they do something to break the law, then they looking at you like, well, hell, you told me I couldn't whoop them, so
people, y'all better get right. Me and Nick are in total agreement. Yeah, y'all better get right. Something. The rapture. Y'all hear trumpets? Is that trumpets?
Lord, that trumpet. Listen, did you hear the conversation that I had in the hot topic? Well, the conversation I was talking about as far as like the abstinence.
Hey,
far as like rent bed.
You hit it on the nose. I heard that. You hit it on the nose.
And guess what? You saw what I put in there because the thing was overused. It's been overused all them years. All them fans that they done hit. It's overused, and it's probably like this now. It just
Hey.
and can't go up no more. That's why they're going to abstinence.
As a man in that same age group, I'm not dunking on nobody. Every now and then I'll dunk the ball. I'm fade away.
Okay. Well, listen here. I want to know, what do you think the solution will be? Because Nick brought it home and she had a point. And the point is, you want us to discipline them. Then when we discipline them, then you want to arrest us too. Or like, you know, our hands are tied. So it's like you said, the stove. And I said, let them touch the stove. Then guess what? Why did you let them get burned? You done went to the hospital. CPS called because they got a burn because they wanted to touch the stove. Like,
here's the thing.
Where is it at when they want to touch the stove? You tell them it's hot. They still want to touch it. They touch it. They burn it. Then you're looking at us.
There's no way to win. I can even take it back to the tax talk we had. They're controlling every aspect of our lives. We must conform and relate. That's it. Because guess what?
Let me ask you this question. Do you think that there is an abuse of CPS or overuse of CPS? Child Protective Services. Go ahead,
yes
Nick.
And no. Because
I got you, Nick. Don't worry, boo. I got you, Nick.
Go ahead, hurry up.
Yes, it is, because these kids, you know, just a little bit. I'm gonna call CPS, or somebody else will call CPS, like you said, because you whoop your kids. But then those cases that they should step in and do, they're like this. They don't step in, and it's too late, and then we're burying the children because CPS failed.
And you're blaming the parents, though.
I know, but it's a failed system. It's a failed system because those that you should be checking on all the time, you don't. But then somebody that just one time fell off the bandwagon or something, or you know, or their child got whooped for something that they did, or they almost hurt somebody else. Then here you come wanting to snatch the kids, but the ones that's actually getting abused, and then later on we're finding them dead. the CPS has been called, and you.
That Good Times episode with Penny and her mother with the iron. That right there, definitely call.
Right, exactly.
Definitely call. But sometimes I think there's an overuse, and the children are using that CPS, that number, as leverage to control the parent as well.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody wants to control everybody.
The dynamic now is taking the parents away from the children, cutting the power dynamic between parent and child. The state will come in and side with the child off the rip. They're not looking at the parent and the merit of the parent and what they're about. So I digress.
You digress. All right, well, let's hit up today's footnote. Motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. I love that.
Right. Say that again.
You are so right.
Say that again.
Motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. That's from John Maxwell.
Okay.
So there you have it. And I love this comment before we go. I'm going to post the systems that are throwing off restraint. All right, lovely people, that is my time. I thoroughly enjoyed you, as I do each and every single Saturday. You know what it is. I usually get the Q-tips, but in the place of the Q-tips, I want all of you guys to do what it is that you choose to do. And when you have children, any decision that you make it based off the betterment and the growth of your child. All right, what you thinking about, Nate? I see you over there.
I can't think of the word. Motivation gets you going, keeps you growing. What keeps you growing?
No, discipline keeps you growing.
Discipline keeps you growing.
Thank you. There you go.
Oh, Mel, don't forget to let them know about the blind date.
I will. So, as Nick stated, I should have had Nick. Listen, we got a blind date coming up June 7th. Mark your calendars. If you are interested, you could call or text 619-902-2287. Just type in blind date. We'll get that information for you. Let your girl hook you up.
Sorry,
And
ladies, I'm
what?
not.
Here's the thing. It's personality and questionnaire based. It's all confidential. So don't be afraid. So for my lovely people that are out there married, if you have some single friends, let's mingle. Okay? Find you, embrace you. Most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people, you know what it is. 1, 2, 3. Shut
Shut
up.
up.
That was a good one. That was
We
good.
all did it. We did it. We did it good.
That's a